We're just chatting about this matter. Hi. Join us. We're just talking about what a fantastic weekend it's been. And you have to say, as far as the title race is concerned, Liverpool dropped points, Arsenal dropped points, Manchester City dropped points, and they're looking pretty adrift now for Manchester City. We're still obviously keeping an eye on them. Nottingham Forest might need to keep a little eye on. But the big winners are Chelsea. Yeah. They go up into second place. They're only 2 points. I know Liverpool got a game in hand, but they're only 2 points behind them. They've put themselves in a really, really serious position because we've talked about them, but we haven't gone, well, maybe they'll drop off, maybe they'll... Not now. No,
I mean, the start of the season, when you did your predictions, I had them in the top four because I thought because of the players they had and the way they ended last season. But I think Maresca was the big question mark because we weren't sure how good he was managing a club of that level. But they've been outstanding. I mean, the biggest compliment you'd have to say for Maresca, he's managed to keep all them players happy. They're flying in the league, flying in Europe. I know a lot of the sides they've beaten, you'd probably expect them to beat, but they're in the title race for sure. Only 2 points behind Liverpool. You have to say that. You can't say they're not.
But they wasn't beating those teams last year. So, you know what I mean? Like, to make the point of what you're saying, like, I think under Poch, he laid down the foundations under Pochettino. But I think what Enzo Maresca's doing, they're all downplaying the fact they're in a title race, but they 100%, they are in a title race. I think Caicedo finally has come alive, along with Fernandes in those positions. And I think, you know, the team selection, he's been able to tinker with it in Europe. The Sassi's played in there. Toten's gone in there as well. So I think, and Jackson is scoring goals, which he wasn't doing last year. So I think, and Cole Palmer, I mean, their list could go on. A lot of players are in a good run of form, and I think 100% Chelsea are in this title race for sure.
I think that's the point, isn't it? It's not the teams that they've beaten, as you've said. It's the performances that they've put in those games. And yes, largely, maybe Villa apart, it's teams that they should be putting those performances in. But they're delivering.
Yeah, Cole Palmer is I think he's the third highest scorer in the Premier League at the moment with 11 goals. Nicholas Jackson's now on 9 so far this season. They're the only team in the top 4 with 2 players in that top sort of 5 or 6, well, I'd say 10 actually, in terms of scoring goals. But if you look at the Southampton game where they were 5-1 winners, there were 5 different scorers in that game. Yeah. So they're sharing the burden of the goals around. We saw a caption a few seconds ago of their recent run of wins, and the only one where there was a clean sheet was Aston Villa. And I think if there is something that could undo them, it's the fact that they concede goals. Even late in this game, they conceded against Brentford. And
even the Tottenham game.
Exactly.
They were in control of it. It was much nervier than it needed to be at the very end.
Absolutely. And titles are won on defence. I know we're talking about all the goals that they're scoring.
Not according to us, the centre-forwards.
Yeah.
Do you know what, you said that, Daz, and it's really interesting, and you're right. I think if they can keep Levi Colwill and Fofana fit, I think that's their best centre-half pairing. I'm also not sure about the goalkeeper.
Yeah. That was my next question.
If they can go out and get a top quality, say they go and get Kelleher from Liverpool, or they get another top quality goalkeeper, then people who are kind of on the fence now, you would have to say they are one of the title favourites.
There's another key thing as well. You mentioned tinkering with the European side. He can field an entirely different 11. We laughed at the number of players that were at Chelsea at the start of the season. But we kind of said, how is he going to do it? He sends an entirely different 11 to Kazakhstan in midweek, and then he plays a Premier League side at the weekend.
But asked for a later kick-off because they were affected by the long travel, even though it wasn't the same.
And even Brentford are looking at it going, how did you pull that one off? You know, but you see, the great thing for him and Chelsea is that they're in a great position now to put that pressure on Liverpool. And I think he's almost like a younger version of Ranieri, where he jokes and he laughs and whatever else, but he knows exactly what he's doing, exactly what the target is now, because it's not top 4 anymore. It's got to be the title now that you are in that position. Where Arsenal, I think, might have the advantage is that they've got the experience of being in a title race. They've got the better defence, in my opinion. They've certainly got the better goalkeeper. But I think where Chelsea are concerned is that they've got that abandon. There's zero pressure on them. I think that they've got more points of attack. And I think they've got less pressure.
That might be the issue, as you said there with Arsenal, is that yes, they've got, I mean, we know how good Saka is. Havertz is having a good season, of course, but when you look at Chelsea, the amount of goals they've got from everywhere, I mean, it's a really poor indictment, to be fair, on 10R, because look what Jadon Sancho's doing now under Maresca. He looks like somebody who just looked like the player we saw at Dortmund before he got to Manchester
Only been
United.
a couple of games.
But still.
It's only been one for Man United.
That's why I'm not getting carried away.
No, but that's the thing, though. That's 2 more than we ever saw at Manchester United already. Do you know what I mean? That's 2 more than we ever saw at Manchester United. But the confidence, the goal against Tottenham, Madueke now all of a sudden, we knew the potential was there when he was at PSV. All of a sudden, now he's come to the forefront. And I look at what they're doing. And Cole Palmer, yes, is the kind of the jewel in the crown. But that midfield three as well of Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo Fernandez, that's going to take some beating, that, because they're all strong, they're all powerful, and they can all play.
There's also that question of momentum, because it's not just the good performances, it's the improvement. It's that continued upward trajectory.
Yeah.
If I had my own teeth in,
go with it.
Just dipped in the pot this morning and took out anyone's. But when you look at the improvement in their performances, the improvement in the individual players, everything's going in the right direction for them.
And I don't think people realise, because at Leicester, I think Enzo Maresca came under a lot of criticism due to his they said he was quite flat in his style of play and his approach. But what I'm seeing him doing, he's able to adjust to you as well. He was not happy with the goal they conceded. He was kind of wrapped up in it. And you can see that's like an elite mentality. But I think he's doing a really good job in a short space of time, because people didn't expect... I expected Chelsea to be in the top 4 because of the squad that they have. But I do think they're doing a really good job. But it's still like teams keep dropping points, like Liverpool, Arsenal. And you say about Arsenal know what it's like to be in a title race, but they seem to always fall off when it really matters. And it's certainly like Odegaard being back for Arsenal. We'll talk about them later, but like is a different level. I think that's the difference between winning the league and losing the league. But I do think this Chelsea team are right up there if they can keep everybody fit. Let me ask you this then.
So if no Odegaard, and they obviously struggle 4 games without a win, I think they lost all 4 of those games. If you were to take Palmer out of the Chelsea side, do you think it would have a similar impact?
Not as bad.
I still think it would, though.
No,
Maybe not
do you know
as bad.
why? Because there's more, again, Neto can score a goal, Sancho can score a goal, Jackson's playing really well, Noni Madueke can score goals. So there's 4 there. With the Arsenal effect, Saka will score goals, but then Havertz, maybe not. There's nothing really come from Arsenal's left-hand side in Martinelli and Trossard. Moreno can get a goal, so we're almost now trying to find someone who can get goals, where I've just given you 4 Chelsea players off the cuff.
I think that is their great strength. And you're talking about the improvement in the players. The reason why those players are able to improve is because they're guaranteed to play every week. Because what he does with the other squad is play them in Europe. So there's none of the schisms that you would have over where you've got too many players. He might be in my position. Sometimes he even plays Caicedo at right back, so that he can accommodate the other two. Enzo is scoring goals now. He's looking like a player who's not worried about his place, and he's playing with much more confidence. And I think those specifics of the reasons how and why he's improving those players is what's making Chelsea strong again. I still worry about that defence. That's just the key thing.
As far as Liverpool and Arsenal are concerned, over the weekend they both dropped points. They both end up with just a draw at the end of their 90 minutes. Do you think they will feel the same, those results, to those sides?
Yeah, maybe slightly. I mean, maybe Liverpool not so much, because I still think they're the best team in the league. They've still got the firepower. Yes, it's a blip, but they might look at it as down to 10 men for a long spell. 2-1 down at one point, so they have come back and got a point, so they'll probably use that as a positive. I think Arsenal at home, 0-0 against Everton. Frustrated. That's why I think, and again, it's tough to say, but that's the reason why, for me, Arsenal won't win the league, because they have too many of those type of performances where they haven't got someone who can maybe step up in key moments. If they're doubling up on Saka or Odegaard quite get into the game, there's no one else that's really stepping up and getting the goals. Whereas I look at Liverpool, I mean, Salah, he speaks for himself. He's one of the best in the world still, if not the best. Him, Darwin Núñez, Gakpo, Jota comes off the bench and scores a great goal. They've just got so much firepower, Liverpool, that was just a blip at the weekend, and they've managed to get a point out of where they maybe shouldn't have done. If that's Arsenal, you just don't know where the goals are coming from.
With Arsenal, though, like the last 2 seasons, they've come close, but they haven't won anything. So it's like, at what point then... Because people start... I'm not saying question Mikel Arteta, because I like Mikel Arteta, but what is success for Arsenal? Because, you know, we talk about them being close but so far. And I think for a lot of Arsenal fans, and my dad's an Arsenal fan, he's a gooner, and he's like... You know, every year they seem to get there. Like last year, it was like Southampton, the loss against West Ham. Saka missed that penalty, and everybody misses things. But like, I just feel like the mentality, there's something missing at Arsenal. I mean, I spent 12 years at that club, so I'm a Man United fan. I want Arsenal to succeed. But I just think, like, what is success for Arsenal now? Because it's
Arsenal
like...
set their own standards in terms of success, because I remember when it was a race for the top 4, and they managed to get there ahead of Tottenham. And then suddenly they realised that they could do what Chelsea are doing this season, whereas the midway through that first season where they challenged for the title, they thought we could do this, and they went for it. And since then, they've been quite unashamed about their ambitions to compete for the title. But I think one of the key things they haven't done their last 2 seasons is get a 20-goal-a-season striker. Yeah. And I really do think they missed out on Ivan Toney. Could have been that guy. He probably wouldn't been as easy on the eye as people think he was, but he scored those scruffy goals, those balls across the 6-yard box that no one's able to get a foot to. You both know all about those. He would have been that guy that would have given them a plan B. I think at the moment, with this season, the way it's gone, and City falling away, this should have been the season where Arsenal were in Liverpool's position. But I look 100%. At Liverpool, I look at their firepower.
OK, but Liverpool were 9 points clear. They're now 2 points clear of Chelsea. It's a different side that have made up ground on them. And they've drawn their last 2. Yeah. They conceded 3 against Newcastle. They've conceded 2 in the game against Fulham at the weekend. It's not been the controlled performances that we've been used to under Arne Slot. So are there concerns for them as well?
I don't think so, though. I don't know. There's a different feeling and the confidence about Liverpool, as much as it pains me to say it.
Is it because of what Darren said, the fact that their draw against Fulham came from 1-0 down, 2-1 down to 10 men, that there was a sort of a fighting, battling aspect.
The energy just feels different at Liverpool. I feel like when you watch them, they look like a team that's like when they won the league before under Jurgen Klopp, that's what they look like. Whoever's in there, whether it be Curtis Jones starting the game, he's having a great season. Harvey Elliott came on at the weekend. They have a lot of really good strength in depth. And I think Arne Slot's been able to implement his style in such a short space of time. And if everybody was able to be fit, like Jota's back now, came off the bench, but like they have a lot of injuries at Liverpool. But like what Benty said about Mo Salah, like, unbelievable. Like, give that man a new contract now for 5 years. I don't care. I know you laughed at me when I said that the other day. I don't care how old he is. Give him the contract. He is just on a different level. Look at him the weekend, like, bending the ball. He's fuming, isn't he, when he don't get the ball?
I just wonder... this is me just having a little chat and speculating wildly. I just wonder if the Liverpool hierarchy might be looking at what's happening with City and some of their players in their 30s and thinking... Maybe. It can all turn so quickly. I don't know.
It's such a good point. Because
it's a great point.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Leanne. Darren, do you want
to... That's all we've got time for.
Little curtsy and off I go.
No, I just think that football, we get swept away with so much emotion. We've seen so many examples of players who have been deep in their 30s, had a sensational season. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang at Arsenal carried them on his back before he got a new deal, dropped off. Mesut Ozil carried them on his back before he got a new deal, dropped off. We've seen so many examples of good players. And I think it's funny because my mind's changed a bit on this. On the one hand, yes, I totally agree. Salah, exceptional. He lives his life right. We've seen examples of good players.
He doesn't look like a player who's in danger of dropping off anytime soon.
No, he's going to be OK. He's going to be all right. But I just think that Liverpool have to say, we've got to do what suits us. And what suits us is to stay fiscally intelligent and unsentimental. And maybe it might be a year with an option. Maybe it might be 2 years with an option. It couldn't possibly be any longer than that because you just don't know how things can change in a short space of time.
I tell you who doesn't know how quickly things can change in a short space of time with a team.
Well, bearing in mind they played most of the match with 10 men. For Liverpool, maybe not the worst result in the world. Dermot Gallagher is with us, and they played with 10 men for most of the match because of the red card to Andy Robertson. Dermot, thank you for joining us. This is denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. That is the interpretation of the law. Was it correctly applied, do you think?
I have my reservations about it. I'm not sure it denied an goal-scoring opportunity. I think if the referee had blown there, he may well have convinced people it is, but as it panned out, I just think we look at it now, we go through it, there's too many variables. The first one being, is he in control of the ball? Most certainly not. Is he likely to control the ball? I doubt it. Is he going towards goal? Certainly not. So there's too many variables. The referee lets it go on. And if you listen to it, we actually hear the whistle go when Jimenez shot is cleared by Van Dijk, brings it back down and think, well, Jimenez had a shot at goal, so he's had an opportunity to shoot. So, as I say, I have my reservations. I don't think it's right.
Dermot makes quite a good case for that not being a red card.
Yeah, why didn't VAR help then with that then, given you broke that down? and when it's live, perhaps why didn't, or did they?
Probably didn't think like I do, Karen.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I'm just because you have a great case.
I think there, if the referee had whistled there, see, I have this notion that if you're going to red card, if I'm going to red card you or Tim, I'm going to do it. I'm going to blow the whistle unless somebody's going to roll that ball straight in the net on the goal line. I'm going to blow the whistle because whatever somebody says to me, I can go, well, hang on, I'm sending him off. I've got to stop the game. You've got control then. Once you've let that go on, and he has let it go on, he's lost a lot of that control because there's too many variables. The variable being, is Jimenez going to score? He doesn't. He blows the whistle when Van Dijk clears the ball. And I think that in itself makes everybody look back, and you trace it back, it doesn't look right.
If Jimenez scores, does he send him off?
Well, he would say he hasn't denied a goal-scoring opportunity. Yeah. He may well yellow card him, but he'll say he hasn't denied a goal-scoring opportunity. We saw a similar thing with Salah early in the season with Liverpool when Nunes scored. Then the referee didn't give a foul. They went on and scored. But in this, they didn't score. And so there's so many moving parts.
There were a couple of possible red cards for Fulham players. First, before that, Diop's challenge. What did you make of this, which was only given as a yellow card on field?
Yeah, I think this is a yellow card. I think it's a very, very high threshold yellow card. And what I would, if I can only speak about, if I was refereeing, I think that's a yellow card. But I would say that what you'd have to do, you make it obvious to everybody that that's so far up the scale that the next foul of any consequence, you're going to go.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough. I think obviously it's late and high, but I don't think there's enough force to say that's a red. I think he goes to make contact with the ball. So I think you're right, high yellow.
And Pereira was the other one, potentially. What was your interpretation of this, the Pereira challenge?
I think it actually looks worse than it is. People said they compared it with Ndidi. I don't think there's any comparison whatsoever. I think he catches him, but he doesn't catch him with any force. It's almost a glancing catch, but it's not nice.
No.
But I don't think it's a red card.
Karen, you're not sure about that?
No, I think it'd be harsh, but it was cynical. He knew what he was doing. Like he wasn't trying to break his leg, but he was just trying to make sure that he went over on his ankle and went off the pitch if he possibly could.
Yeah. What about from Liverpool's point of view? As I said, not a bad point, all things considered.
No, when you look at it, going down after 20 minutes with 10 players against a team that has, got a result out of Arsenal, Brighton, and they're brilliantly well-drilled team. I actually think, in retrospect, it's a good point for them. And I said at half-time, if they could get a point, it'd be a great result, so they did it. So I think in the end, because they had such momentum, and you're thinking, could they win it? You come across a little bit disappointed, but I think they wake up today and say, good point.
Behind twice, 10 men most of the game.
Really impressed. Really impressed. I think top teams do that. When they go down to 10 and they're playing at home in front of their fans and they've still got the quality and the desire to drive forward. I mean, it looks like champions in the making.
Absolutely.
Certainly one of them.
Well, Arsenal haven't scored in open play in the league for 3 games now, and you can see from that record, actually, where Arsenal are compared with last season and the season before. Karen, what's going on?
I think the strangest decision for me was, you look at the stats when Ødegaard's in the team and when he's not, and then he took him off. And he had the big chances in the first half, so I thought that was baffling. We've spoken about it as an over-reliance on the right-hand side with Ødegaard and Bukayo Saka. For me, in January, they've got to go and get a left winger. I know Martinelli and Trossard are good players, but I don't think they're going to take you from second to first from what we've seen over the last couple of seasons. So that has to change. You've seen set pieces, huge weapon. Bukayo, huge weapon, but there need to be more balance from that left-hand side. Until they do that, they won't go where they want to go to.
Bit of remodelling of the attack needed.
Not sure they'll be able to do that in January to get the players of the quality what they need to improve them. I don't think he's done anything wrong over the last few years. I think Pep Guardiola and Man City has been his only problem, and they're not there anymore. So I still think that, for me, I mean, I've said it before, they're my favourites to win the Premier League. I think Arsenal go on and win 10, 15 games on the spin. When they get everyone back to fitness. But they need to improve. Martinelli needs to improve, or just stick with Trossard, or find a different solution. But it's all about Saka and Ødegaard for me, and Declan Rice is integral to whatever they do. Saliba and Gabriel, obviously, very solid. Get their players back. I still think they've got a hell of a chance to win the Premier League.
Derm, we'll see you later in the programme. Thank you very much indeed. Well, on.
Pues eso no ausencia importante, porque Noya es uno de los jugadores que siempre suele comenzar los partidos en esa escalera. Y vamos a ver hasta qué punto lo siente y lo nota el Barrio, que ha sido un equipo un poco de extremos durante los propios partidos, ¿no? Muchas veces ha empezado mal, luego ha mejorado en el segundo tiempo. Hoy el Barrio tiene que salir con mucha más concentración desde el primer instante, porque esto es un partido de playoff y delante tienen un equipo con mucha calidad como es los Troncos.
Atento está para el cierre, Gil Vidal, segundo palo, Carlas al palo. Adri, ¡gol! ¡Gol del Barrio de Adri de Contreras! El penalti Presi. Mira, y Adri Contreras haciendo de la suya. Se queda en el campo y dice... Ian disparó. ¡Oh! ¡Sácala, Gerard! ¡Gol! Verdú también, Edgar Álvaro. Verdú la deja para Edgar. Rompe la barrera. ¡Oh! ¡Gol, gol, gol! ¡Gol! ¡Tenemos suerte! ¡Vamos! Todo tuyo. Ahí está, Marmartra que lanza un bueno. Jugador estrella.
¿A quién ponemos?
¿Será doble jugador estrella?
Sí. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Penalti?
Pues
vale,
quiere penalti, no quiere quitarle el jugador. ¡Gol de los Troncos! ¡No falla Verdú! ¡Viene Arché! ¡Manu Martín! Al lado de la pelota. A ver, aquí va directo a la pelota. ¡Gol! ¡Perchita! ¡Gol! Para los Troncos. Se fue por la clásica, por la segura. Chita, Sorroche con el centro. La bajó muy bien Litus, pase atrás. Edgar.
¡Oh!
Buen pro en el área. Paufer con el cuero al segundo palo. La tapó. Pérdida la tiene Arché. Se barre con toda Carraflana. Rebote para allí. ¡Gol! ¡Gol! ¡Del Barrio!
Ian González, habéis repetido la suerte de las chicas y estáis en semi. Enhorabuena.
Pues nada, muy contentos. Parece que ya empezamos a salir del pozo en el que nos metimos en Liga después de esas 4 derrotas seguidas. Y nada, a Madrid seguro.
Os enfrentáis, al igual que las chicas, a Ultimate Móstoles, guerra de clubes, parece.
Sí, esperamos a ver si podemos ganarles ya, que desde que salí de allí de Móstoles no le ganó ningún partido. Así que nada, DJ, voy a por ti.
O sea que celebración de gol si marcas, a lo loco, todo, ¿no?
Tanto no, pero ojalá le meta uno.
Bueno, enhorabuena, disfrutarlo.
Muchas gracias.